It's been 3 years since it happened, almost to the day. I was 28 back then, 6'2", fit, used to hiking alone. My house sat right where the desert met the forest, an in-between world of rock, dust, and pine. Behind it, the foothills rose in jagged layers until they met the mountains. Between them was a rough valley, dense brush, cougars, black bears, and miles of wilderness that felt more forgotten than untouched. I'd hiked those hills countless times. I knew every trail, every switchback, every sound, or at least I thought I did. That afternoon, I went alone. It was late fall, the kind of day when the sun feels heavy, but the air already carries winter. Normally, I stayed to the south side of the foothills, close to town, but that day, I don't know. Something about the northern ridge called to me. That side was different. Wilder, quieter. After about a mile, I saw something strange in the distance, a shape jutting from the dirt, half swallowed by weeds and sand. When I got closer, I realized it was man-made. A small concrete structure, cracked and weathered, like it had been forgotten for decades. The doorway was half buried, barely wide enough for someone to crawl through. The air that drifted out was cold, metallic, wrong for the season. I crouched, shined my phone's light inside. It was just a small concrete chamber. No markings, no tools, just a block of cement in the center with a rusted metal bowl sitting on top. The sight of it sent a ripple of unease through me. It wasn't a mine shaft or a shelter or anything that made sense out here. Something in me said leave. Instead, I took a few photos and kept going. The trail got steeper. I stopped halfway up a ridge to catch my breath, sat on a rock, and lit a cigarette. The smoke curled up into the wind. From there, I could see everything. The hills rolling toward town, the dark line of trees cutting through the valley. That's when I noticed them. 2 figures, small at first, standing on a distant hill across the basin. They were facing me. I froze. They didn't move at first, just stood there, still, deliberate. Then one of them turned to the other, lifted an arm, and pointed straight at me. That small motion sent a chill straight down my back. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe they were hunters, maybe hikers like me. But something in my gut knew better, because as soon as I looked away, I heard the crunch of movement, and when I looked back, they were coming down the hill, fast, not running, not shouting, just walking straight toward me. There was something off about the way they moved, too synchronized, too sure of the terrain. No hesitation, no sound between them. I stood up, pretending not to notice, and started walking back the way I came. My heart was thudding so loud I could barely hear the wind. Every few seconds, I glanced back. They were still there, closer now. By the time I reached the basin, I'd lost sight of them behind the ridge. I told myself to calm down. I was being paranoid. Then, I crested the next hill and stopped cold. They were waiting on the ridge ahead of me. Both of them. They hadn't just followed me. They'd somehow gotten in front of me. They stood side by side, pale against the darkening sky, their faces blank and too smooth in the fading light. One of them called out. His voice echoed across the hills, distorted, like someone playing back a recording through a speaker. "Hey, where you going?" Then came a sharp whistle, long, piercing. It cut straight through the wind. Something primal in me broke loose. I turned off the trail and began climbing down the ravine, faster than I should have. My boots slipped on the loose rock, adrenaline pumping so hard it made my vision tunnel. Behind me, I heard laughter, then another whistle, high-pitched, mocking. "Hey, wait up," one of them shouted. "We just want to talk." His voice was cheerful, too cheerful. That was what scared me the most. I pushed harder, veering toward the southern ridge. The path was rough, but I knew it would eventually lead back toward town. I risked one look back and saw them again. Closer now, they were moving fast, almost gliding down the slope. Their steps jerky but quick, like puppets on strings. Every time I looked away, that whistle would echo again. I broke into a sprint, my chest burning, legs screaming for rest. The wilderness around me, once familiar, felt endless now. When I reached the last ridge before town, I realized it ended in a drop, a 10-foot cliff of loose dirt and rock. I could climb down it, but it'd be slow, too slow. The whistle came again, closer this time. I grabbed my phone and called my dad. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey, Dad, I need you to come get me," I gasped. "Now? What's going on?" "They're following me." He started to ask who, but I couldn't answer. I looked back, and they were there. Two shapes breaking the crest of the ridge. One of them tilted his head, like he was studying me. Then, another whistle. I jumped down the slope, tearing my palms open on the rocks, scraping my knees. Pain shot through me, but I didn't stop. I cut through the brush, crashed through a chain-link fence, and stumbled onto the paved trail that led toward town. When I finally turned around, they were standing on the ridge above, just silhouettes now, motionless against the dying light. One of them lifted a hand to his mouth and whistled again. By the time my dad's truck came into view, I was shaking so badly I could barely climb inside. He didn't speak for a long time, just stared out the windshield toward the hills. Finally, he said quietly, "That's not the first time someone's told me about those men." I didn't ask what he meant. I didn't want to know. Even now, 3 years later, I can't hike alone. Sometimes, late at night, when the desert wind rushes past the house, I swear I hear it again. That same whistle, high, mocking, getting closer. For months, I told myself I was done with fear, that whatever happened before was just bad luck, a strange encounter, a one-time thing. I repeated that lie until it almost sounded true. My house sits on the edge of a small desert town where the horizon bleeds rust and gold every evening. It's nothing special. One story, creaking floors, a chain-link fence that rattles whenever the wind sighs through. At night, that silence is thick enough to hear your own heartbeat. But sometimes, that silence starts to feel alive. It happened on a still night in early spring. The kind where the air is cool, but the earth still radiates heat from the day. I was lying in bed, scrolling half awake, half watching the flicker of my phone screen. The only sound was the quiet hum of the fridge in the other room. Then I heard it, a metallic rattle from outside. I froze. The side gate sometimes clanged when the wind hit it just right, but there was no wind. The air was perfectly still. The sound came again, metal on metal, slow, careful. Someone was at the gate. I turned off my phone. The glow vanished, and the dark took over. My room suddenly felt smaller, the air tighter. The latch clicked once, then again. A low creak followed, the soft wooden moan of the fence giving under pressure. Every thought emptied out of my head, replaced by one cold truth. Someone was outside. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Turning on a light would have told them exactly where I was. So I sat there, listening. Footsteps, soft at first, then clearer, crunching against gravel. Each step deliberate, measured, the sound of someone who knew exactly where they were placing their feet. My pulse roared in my ears. I reached for my phone, my hand shaking so badly it slipped off the nightstand. The dull thud felt like an explosion in the silence. The footsteps stopped. Then, one more step, closer, right outside the wall of my room. I didn't think, I just called my dad. He answered on the third ring, groggy. "Yeah, Dad," I whispered. "What's wrong?" "There's someone outside. In the yard." Silence. Then his voice sharpened. "Lock the doors. I'm coming." I hung up. The footsteps started again. Slower this time, pacing the length of the wall, like he was mapping the inside of the house from memory. And then, the worst part, a shadow moved across my window, tall, broad-shouldered. It lingered there, head tilted, as if listening. I could hear it then. The faint shift of fabric, the dry scrape of skin against glass. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure he could hear it. Then, fingers, dragging slowly along the siding. A long, deliberate scrape. I didn't need to hear words to understand what it meant. "I know you're in there." The sound stopped just as headlights washed over the yard. My dad's truck. I ran to the front door before he even knocked. He took one look at my face and didn't ask another question. Flashlight in hand, he stepped past me and walked toward the side yard. I followed, barefoot, my hands trembling. The gate latch was half undone, and in the gravel beneath it, footprints, deep, narrow, leading straight to my window and stopping there. "Someone was here," my dad said quietly. It wasn't disbelief, it was dread. We circled the property. Nothing. Whoever it was had vanished into the desert night, silent as the wind. I didn't sleep. Every sound felt amplified. The hum of the power lines, the shifting house, my own breathing. The next morning, my mom texted me a neighborhood alert. A security camera 3 blocks away had caught someone trying a garage door around 9:40 p.m. same night. The clip was grainy, but I didn't need clarity to know. The way he moved, that same slow, measured rhythm, it was him. The police came later. A young officer took notes, nodded politely. "Probably just someone passing through," he said, but his eyes didn't match his tone. He hadn't seen the footprints. Days passed. Nothing happened. We replaced the latch, added locks, motion lights, reinforced the back door. Still, the silence at night didn't feel safe anymore. It felt expectant. Then one morning, I found the note, folded twice, wedged under the side gate latch. 4 words, written in uneven handwriting. "You lock it now." The paper trembled in my hands. My dad came. The police dusted for prints. They told me it was probably a prank, but when they left, I caught the look they exchanged before getting in their car. The one people give when they know it isn't a prank at all. That night, I sat by the window until the sky turned black. The yard was still, too still. Around midnight, I heard the metal rattle once more, soft, deliberate. Then nothing. I never saw him again, but I still don't sleep easily, because sometimes, in the dead quiet before dawn, I swear I can hear that same metallic whisper from the fence, just enough to remind me he's still out there, somewhere, listening, waiting. And every time I lock the gate now, I can still see those words in my mind. "You lock it now," because he taught me one thing. You don't have to break in to make someone afraid. Sometimes, all it takes is the sound of a latch. If this story kept you awake tonight, don't forget to subscribe for more true bedtime horror and join the Hush Circle at hushedstories.com For exclusive stories and early releases, you'll only hear whispered there, because some nightmares are best shared quietly.